Hi, welcome back to the Joanna Ask channel. Here I have a special guest with me today. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Lisa Dong and I'm a support analyst that works at ESRI, Environmental Systems Research Institute.
That's very cool. So what inspired you to do this occupation?
Okay, so I went to college for environmental sciences because, the world is dying. The forests are getting cut down. And I wanted to do something that was like environmental related. When I was in school, I did a lot of research labs, like going out into the mountains to collect biomass, and that was to look at invasive plant species. And then I did research labs inside with soil sediments, and that was kind of lonely. Both of them were lonely. I didn't like the being out in the mountains. It was just really hot here in California, and then inside the research labs themselves, it just wasn't for me. So then there was another part of my major, I guess you could say. We had a couple classes, and I wanted to study abroad in New Zealand. So I actually went to study abroad in New Zealand and took a GIS class. So GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems or Sciences. So GIS, it is the science of where, using location. And basically everything has location. Any business, health, the banks, Starbucks, government, everything uses location. Amazon uses location, right, to deliver packages to people. So when I started using the software itself, that was when I was in New Zealand, and it was just very inspirational because I was like, wow, I can do a lot with this software, like using it for conservation or something like that. And when I came back to California, then I took 2 more GIS courses at my school. We only had 2. So it was at UCR, UC Riverside. Yeah, California. So it was fun though, and then I actually went to the conference for their software company. So the company who made the software itself for like maps and everything. So I'm not sure if y'all heard about the Johns Hopkins dashboard. During COVID, there was like a dashboard with a map, and you could see red dots, and dependent on the size of the red dot, that's how many COVID cases there were.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was pretty widespread. I think a lot of people did see that. So that was using our company software. Yeah. So then at the conference, I was inspired because there was an organization called the African Parks Network. They used the software to reduce elephant poaching by over 90%.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, whoa. So they were able to find the illegal poachers based on like the sound data, as well as like the speed of the elephants, for example. If they're walking too fast, then you know something is up. And it was showing the map, like in different colors. Yeah, that was really cool. So when I saw that, at that moment for me, I decided that I wanted to work for the actual company itself who made the software, who made the GIS software. So that's ESRI.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
That's really interesting. So basically, when you went into college, you knew that you like environmental science, and then you attended different programs, looked at different things, and then eventually pinpointed to like that one thing that you were really interested in.
Yeah.
Because of the conference you went to. That's really cool. So when did you start being interested in environmental science, and how?
So I actually didn't really know much about majors back then, especially for our family. Our parents didn't go to college, so I didn't really know much about college. I just know I like the earth. So anything when it came to like how to be sustainable, how to treat the earth, right, in the way that we live, I researched, hey, what major is closest to this that I like protecting the earth and stuff. And then environmental sciences came up, right? Environmental studies, environmental sciences. And I was like, okay, cool. Environmental sciences it is. I wasn't that I was looking at the major. It was that I was interested in something, and then I wanted to find out what major that would be.
Alright, so you're talking about how your career basically uses technology to help the earth and help the environment, right? So what is your like day-to-day work?
Yeah, so with the technology, it's actually used in everything, in every sector, business, industry, government. So it isn't limited to a specific industry. Like for example, even with real estate, you could use mapping, right? It's spatial like analysis and everything like that. So for my day to day as a support analyst, I see it as being a detective.
Ooh,
That's right.
it's really fun.
So people come in with cases. They're using our software. They might run into an error, or they might have a question like, how do I do this thing? How do I actually perform this type of analysis? Maybe I want to find this. I want to look at the store location and then see within 30-minute drive what are the different areas that like different schools in the area, etc. like that. So you can do different type of analysis with the software. And if they run into an issue, they could call in to technical support. And that's where the analyst would work with them as a team. So basically we're all detectives together to try and find what is the cause behind the error that they're running into. Why is the software failing? And then it boils down to like different variables such as network, hardware, the software. It might be a defect of the software itself. It could be a workflow issue. It might be that the data is corrupted. So there's a lot of different variables when something does go wrong. So then it becomes a game where we eliminate each variable until we find who the cause of the error is. Yeah, so that's why it's fun. Yeah,
That's interesting. Sounds kind of like a board game.
Yeah, it's like a board game.
Playing. Yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
So what skills are like necessary, or I guess they are needed to be successful for your career?
I mean, for my career, and I would say for a lot of other careers, the communication part is very important. Knowing how to talk to people, the social skills. That's why, like for example, if I did any type of job in retail or any other job that isn't related to my field, that's okay. I'm still learning the soft skills needed. So the soft skills I think are very important. For us, when we interview people, for example, sure, technical parts, like the technical skills are good, but the most important part is, can they relate to people? Can they communicate with people? Written communication, spoken communication, verbal communication, that's more important because the tech skills can always be taught. And also, it's the mindset of the person themselves as well. It can't be like if I see someone who's who has like a lot of ego as in, oh yeah, I've already learned everything, I'm like a pro at this, I come in with all the tech skills. We're not interested in someone coming in who already knows everything.
Or they think they know everything.
Or they think they know everything. Chances are they probably know 1% or maybe 2% of the software as a whole. Because we have desktop software, we have mobile apps, there is SaaS, software as a service, so like AWS, using it with AWS and Azure and stuff, so it's very complex. Yeah. So if someone comes in and let's say they do know a lot, but they have a growth mindset, like, hey, I want to learn, I want to improve and everything like that, it's more of being flexible like a sponge. Because when someone has a closed mind, like, hey, I already know everything, they're not going to take the effort to learn something new. Yeah, so I would say the person's mindset is very important when it comes to the career, in any type of career. It's like, for you, do you want to grow? Do you want to learn? Because in school, I would like to say the majority of the stuff you learn is not going to be used. You're going to learn the most on the job itself, which is why having that growth mindset is so important. Yeah,
I would totally agree. For like really any career profession, it's the same idea. It's the willingness to learn, the willingness to be open and learn new things is very important for sure. So your career involves a lot of technology. How do you think the advancement in technology right now, since it's a lot of things are becoming automated, how does that impact your career?
I think for my job itself, sure, there's a lot of automation And some people might try to use like ChatGPT maybe, but the thing is, our software, it kind of advances really fast. There's releases every like 3 months, for example, for like ArcGIS Pro or something. So with ChatGPT, it's based off of data from like before 2021, or maybe the most recent one. You have to like pay money to use it and everything like that. Yeah, it's the technology just advances so fast. And I've tried using ChatGPT before. I was like, okay, let me see. Maybe it can help me find the answer, and it didn't really help. Primarily because some of the documentation it found was already out of date. It was no longer there either. Yeah. So my job itself involves a lot of troubleshooting. Troubleshooting you can only do by actually testing with the software. Yeah. So if it was like a robot, they would need to be able to maneuver behind each scenario that comes in, because each case is different. You have to communicate with the customer in order to even understand what they're running into. Yeah, so that's why soft skills is so important, being on the same page as the customer. And the robot, for example, wouldn't be able to do that. Like, actually understand what they're running into, seeing the workflow yourself, the buttons that they're clicking, understanding the environment and infrastructure, and then actually doing the troubleshooting part with knocking down the different variables through the various tests that you can do. And that changes every time based on the case that comes in. So if I'm worried about ChatGPT or any type of automation taking over the job, I don't think that's going to be very likely, in addition to the human aspect. A lot of my jobs involves the human part, connecting with the user person to person. For me, as an analyst, I actually don't care what they run into. I don't care about what technical issue they have. I care about connecting with them as a person and understanding them. Sometimes, like, maybe their daughter got sick. I'm like, hey, is your daughter okay? Or maybe I got an email very late from them. I'm like, hey, are you sleeping? That human aspect for their job is critical. Yeah, so I would say can't replace that with a robot. Using a robot, Yeah,
I would completely agree. There are definitely occupations out there that require a lot of human interaction, and a robot simply just can't provide those needs like that. So for your career, have you run into any like obstacles, challenges that you have to overcome, and how did you overcome them?
I mean, obstacles and challenges are actually really good. So
that's true.
If I don't run into any, that's a problem. That means I'm not growing anymore. Yeah, so like with going into my position, I did know how to use some basic part of the software. So I took some classes, some GIS classes where I used the software, but it was very minimal. It was probably like 0.5% of what I actually know now. And honestly, that means everything else I encountered was new. And that's actually it was a very good challenge, you could say. Because it was fun. Every case that comes in is different. There's rarely a case that's the same as a previous case. And that's why I like the job so much. It's not monotonous, it's very diverse with the amount of issues that can come in, and it's like Legos. Our software isn't just like one installation. People can build it however they want with multiple different pieces within their network and everything.
Wow.
So
that's really interesting. Like the aspect of you basically talking about challenge doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. It can be, it's something that's on your path to growing and learning, and it's definitely, I feel like if there's challenges and you learn how to overcome them, it's the learning process, and it's a really important part of any career, really.
Yeah, it helps you grow.
So we're talking about challenges and things that you have to overcome in this occupation. Is there like, I guess, advancement or like specialization within your career and your company? There's other like things you could do within the company.
Like different positions?
Like
onto different positions? Yeah. So like my position right now, I'm an enterprise support analyst, meaning I support also the software installation on the customer's on-premise. I'm not sure if that even makes any sense, but but I also learned a lot of IT through that as well. So in reality, I could probably go to a lot of different positions within my company. I could go, if I want to, I could go become a developer, but I'm a people person. I'm gonna be lonely if I become a developer.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, nah, skip that product engineer, developer path. And for me, actually, right now, I'm thinking about becoming a solutions engineer. Solutions engineer, it's basically you get to show users and customers the application itself and create demos of the application and show it to the user. So it's more like inspiring other people when it comes to, hey, this is what's possible within your organization. This is something that you could use to meet like your organization needs. So yeah, that's something I'm thinking about. I mean, I could become an instructor too. There's instructors that teach the software. There's also consulting, professional services. I could go into, for consulting, we basically would travel to customers and then either help them like make an application or set up their enterprise deployment or something like that. Yeah, that's very hands-on. You're basically hiring someone to do your job in a way, something customized, and it's, I don't know, some people would like it because the software has a very high learning curve. So in order for someone to learn their software and then know how to use it to apply to their organization needs and their project that they're trying to do, it will take a long time. So there's like consulting, so it's a consulting, there's instructor, there's developers, product engineers, and the global business department. I think global business department, they have their own like solution engineer. There's also technical account manager, which is the person who manages like the premium cases when it comes to our customers and our analysts within support. I mean, it's very diverse. I could basically go anywhere within the company, but also outside. Especially if you've worked at ESRI, I think everyone kind of knows what ESRI is if you are in the GIS field. If you heard about GIS, then usually ESRI would be one of the first things you also hear about. So going to a different organization, going to, I don't know, any type of business, etc., that are hiring for GIS people, having ESRI on the resume, for example, it's
a good indicator that you're a good candidate, right?
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. So basically within this organization, after you have acquired these skills necessary, it's really about what you like. Are you a people person or do you like to develop something? So once you acquire the skills that are necessary, you can explore and look at whatever you feel like is the most entertaining to you. And that's what you would go with, right?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So you can explore a lot. You can like move like different tracks and like depending on what you like. So that's a really interesting thing about the company that you work for. And so is there any misconceptions about, I guess, your career, your profession, and in general the GIS software even?
Okay, well, I mean, I guess one thing that's interesting is that GIS is in everything that we do in our daily lives. Like, for example, I think we've probably seen the people come up to your door for the U.S. Census when they're doing their 10-year thing. And then this last time they did it, they were using their mobile device. And if you recognize the app on their phone, it's actually using Survey 123, which is actually our company's software. So it touches a lot of things in our lives. Even for a lot of businesses, when they're planning like, hey, should I open a new store here? Chances are that big business that you're thinking about uses our software. So it's actually behind the scenes in everything. And even airports, for example, when they're like calculating the path of the airplanes, it could be used in conservation a lot. Like when I talked about the elephants and poaching, everything uses it with GIS, which is something that a lot of people don't know about. It's a behind the scenes type of thing.
Yeah, now that I think about it, that's true. A lot of things use stuff like GIS that, now that I think about it, I can see how that correlates to a lot of things that happen in your life. So that's really interesting to like feel like be a part of like what people go through every day. Is really interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people that are considering this in general, environmental science, or even your profession or working in your company?
I think those who are interested, at least for environmental science and any major really, is that when you're in school, learn the hard skills. Some hard skills that you would want to like use later on. You can look at other careers that people within the major go into and see if like, oh yeah, I want to be a park ranger or something like that, and then look at the qualifications that are required to see, hey, who are they looking for, doing internships and stuff like that within that field. Yeah, for the actual GIS world itself, really anything now can be learned online.
That's true.
Yes, we have a lot of, there's like ESRI for example has a personal license, a 1-year personal license for $125, and you get access to almost like all of the major software, ArcGIS Online, ArcGIS Pro, and if you just like buy the license for a year and then you get access to all the web courses that we have, then you get to do your own training. It's all about being proactive. There's nothing that's gonna be like, oh yeah, I didn't go to school for this. Okay, that's fine.
But there's like other sources you can find this information. There's no excuses for not doing that.
Google, okay?
Google is your best friend.
Yes, Google, okay,
It really
Google,
is.
YouTube, everything is free, okay? There's so many free courses online, so many people making videos and having documentation and tutorials that there's nothing that's impossible. It's just taking the steps on being proactive and learning it, because then you can also put on your resume like, hey, now I know how to use ArcGIS Pro. Now I know how to use ArcGIS Online. And really what we would, that makes you an even stronger candidate, I would say, because it's like, wow, you were proactive in learning the software. That means we can already see you have a growth mindset.
It shows that you already kind of have like that, like you're kind of committing and devoting to this thing because you're looking it up, you're just exploring beforehand, especially as high schoolers nowadays. I feel like it's something that we can start doing, but anything that you find interesting, explore more, dig deeper, so you can like get a glimpse before you actually get in the workforce. But then it also raises like your starting bar, you know, like when you're looking at the other candidates for sure. So in general, do you have any advice for high schoolers?
High schoolers, well, you're so young still. I mean, I was thinking about college, but
but
I think for high schoolers, really explore different opportunities that come up. Don't just be inside. Go to, if possible, go to conferences if you can.
Maybe you'll get inspired too.
Yeah, honestly, because some people go into different fields and they're like, oh, I don't like this. Especially maybe those go into the medical field and they're like, oh, I don't like this. I think it's really important to go out there and then also shadow people within the different careers.
Oh yeah, shadowing.
Yeah, shadowing is very important, because then you actually see like, oh, this is what it's going to be like if I do this position. But then also just know everything that we encounter, some people might be doing the same job. One person hates it, one person loves it, but it's the same exact job. So seeing what your values are and does it align with the job. Mine is my value is people. I like connecting with people and building relationships. So as long as my job has that, then I'm happy. So really just reflect on yourself and see, what do I value? And does this position or does this field align with what I value? Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.